It's hockey night in South Bend. Senior Robbie Russo for Notre Dame is one of the top-scoring blue liners in the country. His challenge tonight is leading the offensive charge against talented UConn netminder Rob Nichols. The Irish host the Huskies next. The Compton Family Ice Arena in South Bend. The students are back on campus, and it should be a lively Friday night for the first ever meeting between Notre Dame and UConn. Hi and welcome, everyone. I'm Steve Schlanger, and tonight it's a meeting of the Irish and the Huskies, the two newest members of the Hockey East Conference. Notre Dame in their second season, UConn in their very first. And for Notre Dame, it's been kind of an up-and-down season overall, choppy at times, but their one bright spot offensively has been Mario Lucia, their leading goal scorer. And as I bring in Anson Carter, who is inside the glass for us tonight, Anson, what has impressed you most about the junior from Minnesota?
So what hasn't impressed me with Mario Lucia, the Minnesota Wild draft pick, has been on a 6-game point streak, and during that span he's got 5 goals and 3 assists. Notre Dame Fighting Irish need him to continue playing at that clip in order to win some hockey games. You see here, he's using that long range, that long stride of his to create separation from the blue line, and then once he gets below the hash marks, he has that wicked wrist shot. In the offensive zone, he's got the Prince coming back from the back check, great defensive responsibility, and then he gets his puck on his stick, off the stick in a matter of seconds. And then right here, you see him driving to the net, just hiding out in the weeds, then coming back late in the play, find an open area there to tuck that puck in. And on the power play, he has the ability to hide out in the corner and the presence of mind of not only stay there, but get back to front net, because that's where goal scorers go to score goals. When the puck's on his stick, it's off his stick, he's able to counter and make those great shots in a hurry.
Well, the primary source of offense for UConn has been a freshman, Spencer Noss, leading this team in goals scored. He's also second in the country among all freshman goal scorers this season. That's
right, Steve. He's not the biggest player in the world. The 5'10", 185-inch Minnetonka native has 9 goals. That's second in the Hockey East for freshman players. That's also second in the country, like you said. He's only trailing behind freshman sensation from BU, Jack Eichel, who has 10. Coach Mike Kavanaugh knows he needs to have freshmen contributing, and that's exactly what this young man is doing. He's coming in tonight on a 4-game goal streak, and the UConn Huskies hope to see him continue that streak in order to have them get some 2 points tonight against this Notre Dame Fighting Irish hockey team.
And now Notre Dame takes the ice. Valuable points in the Hockey East standings available here tonight as the two teams meet for the first time ever. It's UConn and Notre Dame tonight in South Bend, Indiana. College hockey on NBCSN is brought to you by U.S. Bank. All of us serving you. Member FDIC. Let's now go to Anson, who is with Notre Dame head coach Jeff Jackson.
Coach Jackson, coming to the regular season this year, you knew coming with a young team you'd be a little bit inconsistent, but now we're in the month of January. What else do you know about your team that you didn't know coming to the regular season?
Well, I mean, we have to be resilient. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, they come back every week. They seem to have a good attitude and work ethic and practice. And, you know, it's important, because if we're going to ever get any type of a streak going to where we can play the same way every night, then, you know, that attitude and that resiliency is going to be important.
And I see your special teams. They can either win or lose your hockey games. I look at the talent you can throw out there in your power play. How do you explain its struggles this year?
You know, there's a lot of speculation on that. I mean, we've worked on it over and over. I think the biggest thing is you know, that we haven't been, you know, the big three are getting pucks back, retrievals, face-offs, and then getting pucks and bodies to the net. And we've been spending more time on that, trying to change our personnel based on that. And, you know, it's actually started to show positive signs over the last few weeks.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Notre Dame has been very streaky so far this season. An extremely young team still looking for a measure of consistency. It's the Irish and the Huskies coming up from the Compton Family Ice Arena at Notre Dame. Back in South Bend and just about set for the first ever meeting between two brand names in the world of college athletics, Notre Dame and UConn. And starting in goal for the Huskies is the sophomore from Dallas, Rob Nichols, who, Anson, most of the coaches say is really the key to their overall success.
He really is. He plays a little like former NHLer Andy Moog, who's small, he's tight, he's really compact and square the puck at all times.
On the other end, Cal Peterson, the freshman from Waterloo, Iowa, gets the start for Notre Dame, 5-8-1 on the season. He's lost his last 3 decisions, trying to turn it around here tonight.
Yeah, right now Notre Dame's having a hard time finding consistency between both goals between the nets, and Cal Peterson hopes get in the net and lock down that position going forward here.
Jeff Jackson, the head coach for Notre Dame, still looking for that signature milestone win. A victory tonight would be 400 for his career. This is his 4th crack at it, hoping it finally happens here on home ice, while Mike Cavanaugh is in his 2nd season behind the bench as the head coach of UConn. Huskies in the blue, Notre Dame in the white. The UConn has won 2 in a row and 3 of their last 4, while Notre Dame has dropped 3 straight, most recently getting swept last weekend by Western Michigan in a home-and-home series. The loss here at the Compton Arena was particularly frustrating for the Irish as they conceded the game-winning goal with just over a minute to go in regulation. Trying to bounce back here tonight, Anson. That was a tough loss, wasn't it?
It was a tough loss, and tonight I think it'll be a little bit easier for Notre Dame because now you got the students back in town. It's a lot better atmosphere here in the Compton family. We're going to student sections rocking.
Good crowd, just over 5,000 here at the arena tonight. Notre Dame with some fresh legs coming on. Just about a minute gone by here. Jake Evans first to it, then Pride free. Notre Dame holds the zone, however. Wrist shot never made it through to Nichols. Now Sam Hare in the corner, trying to nudge it along, but loses possession. And here comes UConn out to center. Trevor Gurley lost it off his stick. Notre Dame fires it back to the neutral zone. Now, UConn has been surprisingly resilient in Hockey East this season. They were picked preseason to be dead last, but they have a 500 conference record at this point in the season, and they've already beaten 4 top 15 teams in the country.
When I spoke to Coach Cavanaugh about that, he really gave a lot of praise to his upperclassmen. His senior class has really done a tremendous job leading the way and really being an extension of what they're trying to preach as a coaching staff.
There's Vince Hinostroza, overskates the puck, now curling behind the Notre Dame goal. Spencer Noss, leading goal scorer as a freshman, leads it in the corner for Gurley. He takes a hit from Justin Wade. This UConn team very strong on the puck, very difficult to dislodge. They're extremely robust along the wall. Trying to hold it in the Notre Dame end. They will keep it in as Drake fires it to the corner. Finally, it comes free to Tony Bretzman. Backhanded forward, and Notre Dame breaks out with Sam Hare at center. Stick checked away. Hinostroza first to it in the corner. Leader in assists on this Notre Dame team. Midway through January, Rutherich tips it along. Here's Mario Lucia. Lucia, pride free from him. And now a break for Corey Ronan. A little too far for him, however. Russo back for Notre Dame, and now here's Jordan Gross, who has a 6-game point streak as a freshman defenseman for Notre Dame. Fires it down the ice. No icing is called. In front of Chia. A shot blocked in front. And that's something, Anson, that this UConn team does a lot of. They're one of the top teams in the entire nation in blocking shots.
A lot of their players do a really good job sacrificing themselves, giving Nichols a really good chance to really see those shots. And if they can't see them, they make sure they knock those down.
And our first whistle comes exactly 3 minutes in here. No score at the Compton Family Ice Arena. Offsides the call. This UConn team, like Notre Dame, extremely young. The combined rosters feature 20 freshmen. And in particular for Notre Dame, we've documented it, Anson. It's been very tough trying to integrate the freshmen, get the most out of them. And that's been the biggest source of the inconsistency on this team. The young freshmen trying to play up to their ability.
It's tough. It's a big jump. Maybe coming from junior or any sort of development program to college hockey. It's a big jump to play against a lot of these kids that have played college hockey before.
Ripley is shot. Pat save made by Nichols. Here's Jake Evans. Passed it back to Andy Ryan, but got by him and comes all the way down on Peterson. Trying to catch UConn in a line change here. Evans sweeps it in, and now Notre Dame decides on a line change themselves. Sam Hare chases all the way back down, deep in the corner, absorbs the contact. Whipley tips it along. Here's Connor Hurley, a freshman for Notre Dame. He's got good speed. There's a crunching hit along the wall. UConn able to clear the ice. As Robbie Russo is back for it. Now Thomas DePauli. And this is going to be our first icing call of the game, just over 4 minutes in. Check out this hit by Connor Hurley.
Connor Hurley here coming down the far side. He's got his head up the whole time, but Jacob Poe collides him along the end boards there. He's one of the rock-star defenders for this UConn Huskies defensive team, and Connor Hurley's a good-looking freshman forward with Notre Dame Fighting Irish crew.
Little uptown funk. Do you think Notre Dame has been physical enough this season, Anson?
They have, and I think part of that's because they're so young. That's something that you acquire as you gain more experience. But I think they're also a skilled group, too, so that might not be in their DNA.
Icing call here against the Huskies. One of the things that Jeff Jackson told me about the struggles of his young players is that some come in, they try to do much. Some, they just do too little. They defer too much. And when you're trying to figure out how much of a workload you should take on, sometimes you get overwhelmed by the speed of the game and it all just comes at you in a blur and passes you by.
And you really can't think twice when you're out there on the ice because the game is so fast. You've got a split second to make a decision.
It's the biggest adjustment for most of these players, just the speed of the college game at this level. Here's Trevor Gerlich showing his speed. That's going to be another icing against UConn.
Great hustle there by Trevor Gerlich. He's one of the centermen one of the seniors, that Coach Kavanaugh talked about. I thought he should have negated that icing there. I thought he beat Notre Dame defender back to the puck. Great hustle on Trevor Gerlich's part.
Gerling, the senior forward from Seattle. 7 goals this season, and he's taken a big leap offensively. A guy who can shoot, who can skate. You saw his speed on display a moment ago there. And head coach Mike Kavanaugh said, when we're at our best, we're skating, we're battling, we're getting the loose pucks first, and it's just the sheer speed of this team that is one of its most impressive attributes. Pass a little behind Wuthrich, and then Lucia carries it in offsides. Now Mario Lucia, 13 goals this season. Tied for 8th in the nation. One off the top spot in Hockey East. And also a 6-game point streak. He has really been rolling. UConn vacates the zone. And Notre Dame now bringing it through center. Hinostroza with a burst of speed. Takes it into the corner. He tries to work it in front. Shot and a bad save by Nichols. Second good save of this opening period by the sophomore goaltender.
Good shot there by Vinny Hinostroza, taking advantage of Johnny Austin, blowing the wheel in the corner. He's able to walk that to net, get a good scoring opportunity against Robbie Nichols.
Now Spencer Noss. Curls in the corner. Oh, tough angle shot. Peterson made the save. And Notre Dame gives it up in their own end. At the point. And this one will be back at center. Kind of caught Peterson by surprise as Noss fired that shot. Here he is at center now. The freshman will just softly push it in. Fresh legs coming on for the Huskies. Back at it in. And it'll be Jordan Gross, first to it for Notre Dame. Then one of the bright spots defensively for this Notre Dame team that plays 4 freshmen on the blue line. Gross has produced a lot of offense, 6-game point streak as he comes into this one here tonight. Oh, and now there's our first penalty. Big hit leveled on Dawson Cook. It's going to be against UConn. So Notre Dame will be on the power play first, and some pushing and shoving after the whistle as Cook is still down on the ice. So penalty coming up on the Huskies. Notre Dame with the man advantage when we come back to South Bend. No score first period. And let's take a look at that hit that was delivered by Ryan Segala of UConn.
It's a dangerous play here. As you see Cook going to the puck, and Ryan Segala of the Pittsburgh Penguins draft pick goes in and drives him by the numbers into the boards. This is in real time right here. There's no way that Cook has a chance to get his hands and protect himself. And initially, Segala was sitting in the box, and I thought a similar hit last week at Justin Wade, and he was given a 5-minute major, and it looks like the referees have sent Segala out of the game as well.
He is. It's going to be a 5-minute major on Segala. We're also going to get a penalty on Peter Schneider of Notre Dame. We saw him come in after the whistle and level that hit along the glass. So Schneider is also in the box for the Irish, with 13:37 remaining here in the first.
Yeah, you want to be smart if you're Notre Dame. You don't want to go in and take those penalties, but I understand where Peter Schneider's coming from. You want to be a good teammate. You want to protect your teammate. You never want to see your teammate in those dangerous positions.
He'll go off for roughing. And Jeff Jackson's team that has sorely been lacking in power play efficiency this season will get an opportunity. Elbowing to the head was the official call on Ryan Segala. Jeff White will serve the penalty in the box. And for the moment, we're 4-on-4. But then perhaps an opportunity for the Irish with the man advantage following. Now Russo off the drive, scores! Robbie Russo makes it 1-0 Notre Dame.
Faceoffs are so important in all three zones today, especially in the offensive zone where you're trying to get some offense going. And you're seeing that's exactly what happened there. The captain, Fogarty, wins a key draw over to Gross. He passes it across, and Robbie Russo creates a little time and space for himself, a nice shooting lane, and he blasts up by Rob Nichols into the top corner of the net.
The leading point-scoring defenseman in Hockey East, third in the nation among defensemen. His 8th goal of the season, and now leading this team in points overall. The defenseman Robbie Russo making it 1-0 here, and we are still 4-on-4 with just over 13 minutes to go in the first period.
I can't stress enough how important faceoffs are over the course of a hockey game, especially in the offensive zone. That gives you a chance to get a couple extra seconds with the puck if you're able to win that draw.
And especially when it is 4-on-4 and you have that much space out there. You saw how close he was in when he let that shot go. Here's Corey Ronan, shot well wide. Johnny Austin comes in on net, sticked away by Cal Peterson. Jacob Poe wants to line it up, then plays it along. Rister never made it through. Now Poe, he's got a cannon, lets it fly, blocked in front, deflected to the corner. Spencer Noss goes around his man and falls down. Puck held at the side of the cage, comes free. Ronan battling Andy Ryan. Spencer Noss also trying to nudge the puck along. There's Jacob Poe. And now Fogarty without a stick. Has to kick it along. Notre Dame will just lift it all the way up and into the scoreboard. So it hits the scoreboard. That brings play to a halt, and the faceoff will be down in the Notre Dame end.
See right here, offensive goal scorer Mario Lucia, not only can he score goals, he can also block shots too. And don't think this goes unnoticed on the bench, because the boys here on the bench right below me were tapping their sticks going crazy whenever they see an offensive player like that sacrifice himself for the good of the team.
Second round draft choice of the Minnesota Wild. That's what this Notre Dame team really needs to get going, is to have that kind of contribution from everybody, offense and defense. Everybody pulling their share. Now 2-on-1, led by Trevor Gerling. He's got Sean Pauley with him. Gerling takes the shot, and the save made by Peterson.
Great save by Cal Peterson. I feel that's what Notre Dame's been missing, that timely save by their goaltender during stretches of the game. And that was a big save by Cal Peterson right there.
And the penalty to Peter Schneider is over, and Notre Dame still has 3 minutes of power play time remaining because of the major on Ryan Segala. So now we'll get our first full look at the Notre Dame power play coming up.
UConn here wins the battle there. Tough pinch there by Jordan Gross, a freshman, and Trevor Gerling's got his head up the whole time, but Cal Peterson kicks that pad out and redirects that puck into the corner for a nice save. for the freshman goaltender.
Now this is where they've struggled the most. Their power play under 7% on the season. Last in college hockey, 6 for 90. Last outing against Western Michigan a week ago, they were 1 for 7 here at the Compton Family Ice Arena. Thomas DePauli pulls up at the point. Just curls it in around the wall. Cal Houston tries to clear it along the board. That's up into the netting, and we get a whistle. Now this is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the power play in college hockey. Notre Dame 59, dead last, but inching up, believe it or not. They were right at 6% last weekend, got that one power play goal, so now it's 6.6. Head coach Jeff Jackson doesn't mince words. He says, it's embarrassing. It's the worst power play I have ever had, and we're doing everything we can think of. We're changing personnel, changing formations, just hoping something works.
And it's tough. When you're a player on that power play and you're hopping over those boards, you understand that it's an honor and it's a privilege to be in the power play. It's not a right to be on there, and you don't want to let your teammates down.
Anson, when you watch them, what's the biggest issue they seem to have?
I think they get a little bit too cute sometimes. There's a lot of skill, especially in the back end. You got Russo and Gross, you got Hinnenström, and then you got Lucier, and whoever else they throw in the mix up front with them. They look for that perfect play as opposed to getting that greasy goal. Just throw the puck at net and get one off the back of your pants off a shin pad and get some confidence going.
1:45 left to go in the man advantage here. Hinnenström trying to get it in front, finds a man in the slot. Shot is blocked off the stick of Austin Woodbridge. And Notre Dame has to retreat. Midway through our opening frame here at the Compton Family Ice Arena, Notre Dame has the 1-0 lead. Now shorthanded. Here's Corey Ronan splitting defenders. Shovels it along the boards. It's going to be kept in by Derek Pratt. His shot is blocked. Spencer Noss turns and loses possession. And finally Notre Dame will settle it down and bring it out to center. 1 minute left to go in the Notre Dame power play. Sam Hare plays it into the corner, tries to chase after it. 4 players converging. Sean Pauley softly off the dasher and down the ice.
It's tough getting the puck past big Kyle Houston in the back end. He's a big man, the UConn Huskies.
Bolting through center. Here comes the goal scorer, Robbie Russo. Goes around Jacob Poe. Backhands out to the point. Russo to Fogarty. 5-on-4 here. Notre Dame looking for the 2-0 lead, but they won't get it here. Sean Pauley clears it down the sheet. And we've got 20 seconds left in the power play. Maybe one more rush available for the Irish.
It's a great stick there by the assistant captain, Trevor Grilling, to break up that 5-on-4 situation.
Irish come in. Connor Hurley drops it back. Shot by Jordan Gross. Hits the side of the pipe. Bounces up in the air. And Nichols gloves it with 3 seconds left to go in the Notre Dame man advantage.
That's exactly what I'm talking about here. You see Jordan Gross coming down the pipe here. He's got a great shot there, but he decides to pass it to Jake Evans, who brings it off the post. I mean, if Jordan Gross decides to take that shot, I wouldn't be mad at him because in the grade A scoring opportunity, but he decides to do the unselfish thing, pass him to Evans, and he's able to capitalize.
And now back to even strength. 5-on-5 here with 8.5 to go in the first period. Robbie Russo's goal coming in the 4-on-4 after the initial penalties were assessed, and now the faceoff is going to come out in the neutral zone. Robbie Russo, one of the top scoring defensemen in the country, gives Notre Dame the lead here on home ice. It's 1-0 Irish in South Bend. As we return, let's go inside the glass with Anson.
Thanks, Steve. Notre Dame's dynamic duo on the back end. Jordan Gross and Robbie Russo have been outstanding for this team so far. They move the puck so well. They read off each other so well. And then you're seeing here, both guys have offensive instincts. Robbie Russo there jumps down in the slot to get a nice play. And they could activate and get the offense started right from the defensive zone with a nice, crisp first pass. And then Jordan Gross here, you know, the offensive instinct to come down, right down the seam there to get a great scoring opportunity. And then right here, another play off each other, shooting the puck through the seams, creating opportunities for each other, reading off each other. They make things extremely difficult because a lot of times they become the 4th forward jumping in the rush.
By the way, Anson, I love your perch inside the glass here at the Compton Arena. You look like an orchestra conductor.
It's great.
10
Best
feet
seat in the
air.
house.
Little Beethoven, maestro.
I don't miss anything from down here.
Is Austin Wuthrich in the corner for Notre Dame. Gives it up. Centered in front. Lucia. It went right by him. Inestroza. Walking in, shooting, and a save by Nichols, who deflects it up into the net.
Here you see big Mario Lucia just hanging out, not getting tied up, keeping his stick active, and the puck just bounces right off the stick. And the last chance there, you see Vinny Hinestroza beats White off the half wall there, gets a great scoring opportunity, and the puck gets deflected out of zone.
Just under 8 minutes remaining. First period here in South Bend. Russo backhands down the boards. Big Evans takes a hit, comes back to Russo. Now at the point for Jordan Gross. In front. And a save by Nichols off the stick of Connor Hurley. Now that man has been busy here in this first period.
Once again, you got Jordan Gross with his head up the whole way, finds that shooting alley there. But Connor Hurley isn't able to get that rebound past Rob Nichols, who comes out, cuts down the angle, and makes the save.
Well, Rob Nichols, the sophomore from Dallas, had a terrific summer in the weight room, lost a few pounds. Last year, the coaching staff felt that his stamina was really a problem, but that's all changed here this year, and they say he just never really has a bad game. He's always solid.
And his team feeds off him, too. He makes the key save at the right moment for this UConn Huskies team.
Scooped in. Notre Dame will chase. Here's Sean Pauley, leading point scorer, plays it along to Trevor Curling, gets it out to center. Now here's Evan Richardson. Stephen Fogarty and him battle. Chop that in the corner, Pauley. Back to the point it comes, but Notre Dame breaks free. Sent right back in, and a line change for UConn as we go under 7 to play here in the first frame.
Big Kyle Houston has an active stick. Like I mentioned, he's a big man in the back end there, and it's really difficult to get around him and use that reach and that size to shut you down.
6'5", 215 from Parker, Colorado.
Dad's a former Major League Baseball player, too.
Yeah, he played for 7 different teams. Says Spencer Knox shoots and scores! The tying goal from the freshman and leading goal scorer for UConn.
First starts the forecheck. UConn Huskies get the puck in deep, and then the forecheck is on. Corey Ronan gets in there. Oyen Tekinen's on there. And then Spencer Nas gets the puck on his stick, and he shows you why he scored goals in the last 4 games. Great forecheck there by Ronan. Gets the puck back. Oyen Tekinen gets a great pass back to him. And then Spencer Nas shows that goal scorer's release going over the glove of Cal Peterson.
Now into double-digit goals for the year. His 10th goal of the season. 5 games in a row with a goal for the freshman. And they're looking for more. Corey Ronan tried to slip it in front. And now Justin Wade in the corner for Notre Dame. Spencer Nas now tied for the national lead in goals among freshmen.
Good-looking young player. He's got really good hockey smarts out there.
So we are tied at 1. 6 minutes to go here in the first. Jordan Gross back at center for the Irish. Notre Dame struck first with Robbie Russo scoring the 4-on-4 goal. But Spencer Nas answering here. And Anson, it's been one of the big problems for Notre Dame this season. Closing out games, holding on to leads. Sure, we're still early in this one, but many times they've had leads in games this year that they've lost and wound up losing the game as a result.
Getting started has never been a problem for this Notre Dame team. They're a young team, but they're hungry, and they've shown they're prepared to get ready to play early in the hockey game. Just like you said, they can't maintain those leads.
So 5:12 now left to go in the first. After Russo got the scoring started for Notre Dame, Spencer Nas, the freshman from Minnesota, answering for the Huskies, and we're tied at 1. The NHL's Game of the Week is back on NBC Sunday at 12:30 Eastern. It is the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins on NBC. Then at 7 Eastern, the Sabres take on the Red Wings on NBCSN. And a former Notre Dame player could be featured, Brian Rust, Sunday on NBC in the Penguins-Rangers matchup. Notre Dame with 10 NHL draft picks on their roster this year. They seem to be turning them out every single season. At the point, here's Andy Ryan, a shot gloved by Nichols. Now for UConn, Spencer Noss getting the tying goal, one of 10 freshmen on this UConn team. They have 11 newcomers overall. And over half of their goals so far this season have been by players who were not on the team last season. And they've really needed those contributions. This is a squad that lost their top 3 scorers from last year and were wondering where they were going to get some offense from when this season began. And they're starting to get the answers. As Curling shoots, saved by Peterson, gets it back. Curling backhands along. Pauly, wedge to the glass. Peter Schneider, the Austrian, taken right off his stick at center. Jacob Bowe ahead to Gerling. Looks to center, slides it in front. Evan Richardson couldn't get a clean shot away. Broken up by the Irish. And they bolt through center. Now Fogarty overskated the puck. The stick checked away as well. Derek Pratt working on his man, Sam Hare. Comes to Fogarty. And now Evan Richardson. Ahead to Oyatakainen, the Finn, who played it up into the bench. Well, that stops the clock with 4:07 left to go here in the first period. Notre Dame out shooting UConn 10-6 so far, but we are tied at 1.
Steve, to your earlier point about freshmen, I don't think that Coach Cavanaugh is going to have a hard time recruiting there to UConn. They have such great brand recognition as a school. It's going to be an up-and-coming program real quick, I believe.
No, they are one of the blue-chip schools in college athletics, and they've won national championships in many different sports, not just basketball with the men and the women, but also field hockey. Soccer's been terrific. I mean, it's a terrific sports school.
I agree. Great baseball program as well, too. Football is pretty good as well.
Well, you look at one of the new men on campus, Spencer Noss, the freshman who just got the goal a moment ago to tie this game at 1. And as I mentioned, that ties him for the lead among all freshmen in the country with 10 goals on the year.
That's a pretty good company to be in, because whenever you think freshman college hockey players is here, the first thing that comes to mind is Jack Eichel. And to be right there in that same company is saying something. Spencer Noss is having a really good season so far.
Now Spencer Noss, 100 points in 2 seasons of high school hockey, and he's really turned it on since the holiday break this season. Now 7 goals in 7 games. No one hotter for UConn than Spencer Noss. And think about what that does for a team when you have a freshman who can contribute offensively, and you know you're going to get some consistent scoring.
Well, it helps with your other freshmen, too, because they look around saying, he's the same class as I am. He's doing it. Why can't I? And it raises their level of compete as well.
Closing in on the final 3 minutes of our opening period. Johnny Austin goes back to center for that one. And now Notre Dame in their own end. Notre Dame has lost 3 in a row for the first time this season coming into tonight's game. UConn, meantime, winning 2 in a row for the first time this year as they play here tonight in South Bend. Tied at 1 in the early going. As UConn looks to set something up, here's Kyle Hewson, a shot deflected off the stick of Thomas DePauli and out of play.
UConn team doesn't sit back either. White, Kirkland, they're all jumping on their toes in that forecheck, making things extremely difficult for this Notre Dame defense to get pucks out of their zone.
Now we talked about What a great sports school it is. A terrific illustration of that is what happened last Saturday. They had a men's basketball game at 11 a.m., which was sold out. And then later in the afternoon, the Patriots were also on TV in an NFL playoff game. But that being said, that night, the UConn hockey game was also sold out. Almost 8,000 people turning up while the Patriots were still playing in Foxborough.
Well, so far they're leading Hockey East in attendance, so that shouldn't surprise you either. Great hockey community there.
And they're still building this program. It's their first year in Hockey East, coming from the Atlantic Hockey Association. They've been playing hockey since 1960 in stores, but now really at an elite level here for the first time in Hockey East. 2 minutes to go, first period. Stephen Fogarty just gave it away there. Patrick Kirtland intercepts and skates it back to center. Line change for the Huskies. Now, even though we talk about just what an influence the 10 freshmen have had on this UConn team, it's still been senior leadership that's played such a pivotal role in their success. They have a handful of seniors who really have demonstrated a tremendous presence in the locker room and on the ice this year.
Coach Kavanaugh on those championship teams in BC, he knows all about senior presence and what they could do for your team. Those teams at BC have great senior leaders, and he knows that really translates into success on the ice.
Here's Luke Ripley trying to center. Broken up by Kierling. Now Wuthrich drops it for Andy Ryan. And Notre Dame will try to structure something offensively with just about a minute to go here in the period. Now, Anson, really the sweet spot is that balance between freshmen and seniors. The upperclassmen, the underclassmen, to get it all to come together.
Well, that's the key right there. They all come together.
Now 2-on-1. Here's Trevor Gerling. Loads, fires. Peterson made the save. Gave up the rebound. Gerling on it in the corner against Luke Ripley. Gerling has it now. Minestroza on him. Tries to curl around. With half a minute now remaining in the first. Now Gerling takes a hit in the corner. And Notre Dame just holding in their own end here. Final 20 seconds. No real sense of urgency here from the Irish. Minestroza at center. Backhands forward. Chance for Jake Evans. Stick checked away, but he gets it back along the wall. 5 seconds to go in the period. Tries to center. Comes down. Shot by Russo. Nichols made the save point blank. As time expires at the end of the first period. Russo almost had his second.
UConn coming down to 2-1 here. Trevor Gerling has his head the whole time. Luke Ripley takes away the bottom half of the net. Cal Peterson knows this, so he's able to stand up and take that shot away. And on the other end we go. Robbie Russo, great scoring opportunity. And then you see Robbie Nichols squared the shot, knocks that puck down, and keeps the game tied at 1-1 going into the break.
Now coming up on the Friday Night Ice first intermission report with Dave Briggs, a battle in Beantown and a Metro Division showdown. It's all on the way. 20 minutes in the books here in South Bend, a 1-1 game, and now let's send you to Dave Briggs back in the studio. On our way to the second period at the Compton Family Ice Arena, 1-1 the score, and now let's take you inside the glass with Anson.
Thanks, Steve. The UConn Huskies done a really good job tonight, really taking away the boards from Notre Dame and forcing them to move pucks in the middle of the ice, and that's something they don't want to do. You're seeing right here, they're doing a really good job winning puck battles in the boards there and really driving the Fighting Irish up the boards and creating turnovers. Once again, you got guys on the forecheck making life difficult. You got all 5 Fighting Irish players on the ice giving support. And then you got Justin Wade again trying to put the puck up the boards. You got UConn Huskies all there in great support, doing a really good job. And finally, Notre Dame does a really good job figuring it out, getting the puck in the middle of the ice, and then they can attack with speed. And then you get the transition here in the goal. You've got Oyen Tekkanen, back behind the net over to Spencer Nas, and he goes top shelf, making Fighting Irish pay off that turnover.
Robbie Russo, the goal for Notre Dame. That came in a 4-on-4 situation, as you just saw Spencer Nas with the response for UConn. So it's 1-1 as we begin the second 20. The UConn team outshot by Notre Dame by a better than 2-1 margin in the first period, but that's not unusual. They do concede a lot of shots, but the key, Anson, is that they don't give up many quality scoring chances. You may get one crack at it, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's all about the grade A scoring opportunities. You can have 40 shots from the outside, and any coaching staff will tell you they'll give that up. But it's those 1 or 2 grade A scoring opportunities that can really hurt you that teams don't want to give up.
One of the impressive things about their netminder, Rob Nichols, is he doesn't give up many rebounds. Usually smothers it, holds on, and that's an attribute that sometimes doesn't get a lot of play in these statistics, but boy, can that be huge.
It certainly helps, speaking of huge, having a big defensive core as well, too. Besides Johnny Austin, all their defensemen are 6'1", 6'2", or above, which makes it extremely difficult as a forward playing against those guys to get anything going down low because they eat up so much ice.
And they also lead Hockey East in block shots, and they're third in the nation. It's just hard to get anything through onto the UConn net, and when you do, you got Nichols waiting for it in goal.
And when your team doesn't really have that much depth up front in terms of elite scorers, you have to play solid team defenses. That's exactly what UConn does.
Sam Hare, a little too far from Luca Ripley. Huskies retreat. Derek Pratt shovels it along the boards behind his own goal. Sterling has to stop, gives it off for Spencer Naas. He shoots, misses wide. Peterson played a good angle. Now 4 players converging in the corner. Sean Pauley retreats. Luke Ripley comes away for the Irish. And now Austin Ruthridge has some open ice. Ruthridge backhands for Stephen Fogarty, a little too far for him. Fogarty, one of the 4 Edina, Minnesota natives on this Notre Dame roster. As Andy Ryan intercepts a pass there, backhands out to center. And we're going to get a penalty here. And this is going to be against Notre Dame. Just over 2 minutes into our second period. That's a hooking call on Austin Ruthridge.
Bad check in there. You see Austin Ruthridge there, getting his stick in there, hooking Sean Pauley, or I believe, sorry, that was Spencer Naas, getting sent to the sin bin there for 2 minutes for hooking. Those are the penalties you don't want to take in the neutral zone. In the defensive zone, yes. Neutral zone, the offensive zone, you don't want to take those hooking penalties.
So it's UConn with their first power play of the hockey game. Only 13%. Their entire special teams has really lagged so far this season, both the power play and the penalty kill, although last weekend in 2 games, they were 3 of 5 with the man advantage after having gone 1 of 16 in their previous 5 outings. So the power play, even though the percentage is still down, is starting to come around, it appears. Slowly but surely. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, same thing with the power play. Takes time to get that confidence going. Deflected in front. Winds around the corner. Now Notre Dame a chance to clear. And Thomas DePauli out at center. They'll just send it down the ice. And some new penalty killers coming on for Notre Dame. 3 minutes deep, second period. And 5 on 4 for the Huskies. Pauley, long shot. Peterson had a good vantage point. Game is on once again. Brett Norris, though, falls down trying to go around Andy Ryan.
Let's go!
And Notre Dame, once again, clears it down the sheet. Notre Dame penalty kill at 83%. Obviously much better than the power play. Spencer Naas with some speed, centered, but nobody there. Ian Tonkanen off for Naas. They miscommunicated, and that allows Notre Dame to clear once more. New power play unit for UConn. New penalty killers once again for Notre Dame. Final 25 seconds of the man advantage for the Huskies. Spencer Naas once again from an angle. Missed everything. And the Huskies have to retreat. Not much of a power play here for UConn in their first chance.
Those are tough shots, too. When you miss the net there far side in the power play, it goes down the opposite end of the boards, and you got to retreat and come back 200 feet of ice. You want to try to miss short side if you can.
Had trouble getting into the zone and then setting anything up. And now we're back to even strength. There's Ryan Tyson. Got some daylight to the backhand. Derek Pratt. Shot blocked by Fogarty. Now a one-timer from Tyson, who was spinning around. Fogarty's going to get to this one on the dasher and plays it out to center for a 2-on-2. Thomas DePauli trying to go around Tyson. Got to leave it in the corner as he's crunched along the wall. Jake Evans. And Tyson digging at it, poking, trying to nudge it free. Jordan Gross just sends it down the boards to Evans. Now Connor Hurley, the freshman. Long shot from out high, blocked in front on the rebound. Jordan Gross was right there. And finally, Kyle Hewson backhands out to center, and Notre Dame will chase into their own end.
A lot of movement there in the offensive zone by Jordan Gross and Robbie Russo on the top. That's how Jordan Gross ended up down low in that rebound.
Trying to get him in a line change, and a shot hit the post. Sam Hare rings it off the pipe. As they were trying to catch UConn in a line change, puck goes out of play, that close to making it a 2-1 game.
What a release by Sammy here, but Cal Peterson does a really good job getting the puck up to him. And then you see here, Sam here's got his head up the whole time, tries to go far side with a quick snapshot over the shoulder, just goes in, off the bar, and then out. Wow, great release by Sam Hare.
Second post of the night for Notre Dame. Sam Hare was bidding for his 7th goal on the season. The junior, who was the most improved player on the Notre Dame team last year, continuing to make strides. Nas takes the hit from Uthrich. Here's Corey Ronan. And Peterson reaches out and gloves that one with 14:20 to go in the period.
I'm not really that surprised to see Sam Hare's development. Every time we come here and watch practice the day before games or morning skates, he's usually one of the last guys off the ice every single time I see him. So, you know, when you're putting the work like that, you're going to see results.
Very durable player, played every game last year, has played every game this season. From Hinsdale, Illinois. Not a flashy player, but seems to find a way to score goals. Lucia racing Johnny Austin. Now Evan Richardson in the corner. And Jacob Poe behind the goal. Poe, really the heart and soul of the blue line for UConn. One of the team leaders. Now in the corner, ties up his man, Vince Hinostroza, and Poe comes away with it. Jacob Poe here with the puck, one of the top shot-blocking defensemen in all of college hockey. Here's Richardson sliding a pass too far for Gerling. Uthrich to Hinostroza. Lost control of the puck, has to circle back to his own blue line. Now Uthrich, he's got Russo with him. Gives it to Hinostroza. Trying to go rink wide with a pass. That was tipped. Notre Dame holds the zone, but only momentarily. Couldn't do much with it. And Notre Dame regrouping at center. Just about 7 minutes gone by here in the middle period. So looking for our first goal of the frame as Nas banks it off the boards, looking for Ryan Tyson. Notre Dame intercepts, and now a 2-on-2 with a pass behind Fogarty. Finds Peter Snyder. And Notre Dame really never could get a good shot away.
If Robbie Russo one-times that puck, is right here in my vantage point. He's got a wide open net. When he decides to stick handle and dust it off a little bit, the opportunity went away rather quickly as Robbie Nick was able to recover.
They had numbers there. It's back out to the point. Poe misfires. And now Peterson is on top of the puck at the side of the goal. 12.5 minutes left to go in the second period. UConn and Notre Dame meeting for the first time ever, and they're tied at 1. 1-1 game in South Bend, and as if you needed reminding, February 1st, the biggest Sunday night of them all, is on NBC. We'll be live in Glendale, Arizona, with a full day of coverage leading up to Super Bowl 49. That's February 1st only on NBC. Will that man, Jeff Jackson, have his 400th win by then? He's looking for it here tonight, sitting on .399. His 10th season at Notre Dame, 16th season as a Division I head coach. Notre Dame has lost 3 in a row, so this is his 4th opportunity to try and secure win number 400. He downplays its significance, but still a milestone achievement when he does finally get it.
And he certainly deserves it. He's put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. He's been a success every single place he's coached.
A couple of national championships at Lake Superior State. In his first head coaching stint. Bouncing puck. Comes in front. Players colliding. Peterson on the ice. And finally a whistle stops play. Now in Division I hockey, 5th among all-time active coaches.
Active is right.
Yeah, that's because of your man, isn't it?
Gotta throw Coach Mason there anytime any chance I get.
Jackson does have the top winning percentage among active coaches with 10 or more years in the game.
It's pretty scary too if Coach Jackson never went to Guelph to coach, or the Islanders, or United States Developmental Program, how many more wins he'd have on top of 399 he presently has right now.
Now, speaking of those national championships from Lake Superior State, last weekend there was a bantam tournament here in town, and some of his former Lake State players were in town with their own kids who were playing in the tournament. So he was sitting on $3.99 last weekend as well, and it made him feel a little older when he saw some former players come in with their own kids who are now playing the game.
Yeah, it's never a good thing to see former teammates with kids playing. Makes you feel really old.
Chance for the Irish, playing it down deep. Here's Hinostroza. Tipped away from him. Wuthrich back to Hinostroza. Now at the point for Jordan Gross. Side of the net, back in front of the score!
There's the man we talked about at the top of the show, Mario Lucia. Now, just about a comment before this goal was scored, that UConn standing around really straight leg in the defensive zone. Well, this play here all happens with Austin Wuthrich behind the net, comes out, nice little spinorama, back pass to Lucia, who goes to the front of the net, and he gets a nice little tap. But Austin Wuthrich makes the play right there, and Mario Lucia does a really good job not getting tied up with the defenseman in front of the net there, getting his stick active, and tapping home that goal.
Goal number 14 on the season from the junior who hails from Plymouth, Minnesota, tying him for the lead in Hockey East.
Scored by number 22, Mario Lucia.
And Notre Dame with their second lead of the game, now 2-1 as we approach the midpoint of this hockey game. Here's Sam Hare in the corner, going around Derek Pratt, now Peter Schneider. Andy Ryan lays it down deep.
Number 3, Jordan Gross.
Now Lucia continuing to roll here for Notre Dame. There's a shot blocked by Schneider. And he's able to hold in at least for a moment. Now Mario Lucia now with a 7-game point scoring streak, and that ties his career high. It's been a terrific last few weeks for Lucia.
Peter Schneider just got his head up just in time there. Brad had him lined up, ready for a big hit.
Jordan Gross, the freshman, by the way, on the assist. Now 10 points in his last 7 games. He has a 7-game point streak as well.
We take a closer look at Mario Lucia. He always, time and time again, finds a way to get lost in the defensive zone. You see him always moving his feet, always his head up the whole time. Stick ready, active, getting ready to shoot. And he's right there by Norris, is right beside him. And you know what? This isn't fluke that he's able to get himself open. That's a skill that you just can't teach. You're either born with that or you don't have it. And Mario Lucia definitely has that skill.
Former Notre Dame Rookie of the Year as a freshman. Won a gold medal at the World Junior Championships in 2013. And of course, playing for his father, Don, growing up as a kid. Didn't go to the University of Minnesota to play for Don, trying to escape the shadow and not be the coach's son here in South Bend, but quite a hockey family, and he clearly has the DNA. Bouncing puck in on Nichols. And finally, the net comes off the magnets. Nichols couldn't hang on to that one. It was dangerously free in front. So the face-off out in the neutral zone. Thomas DePauli, first ever Italian to play for Notre Dame, junior. He played on the under-18 team, fourth-round draft pick of the Washington Capitals. Moved to the U.S. when he was 12 with his mother and brother, so they could both play hockey. DePauli injured for a good portion of last year, but back healthy this season. But Mario Lucia, his team-leading 14th goal of the season, has given Notre Dame their second lead of the game. Notre Dame leading 2-1 here at the Compton Family Ice Arena, and Mario Lucia moving up the ranks of goal scorers in college hockey. Now tied for third with his 14th of the year. Lucia has also scored in 6 of 9 Hockey East games here in this campaign as well.
A lot of game breakers on that list there, Steve. A lot of dangerous hockey pros.
Lucia being one of them. UConn looking for the tying goal, coming in, a shot. Missed everything, but kept in by David Drake. David Drake, one of 2 NHL draft picks on this UConn team. And now Austin Ruthridge with daylight through center for Notre Dame. Corey Ronan back checking nicely. Puck knocked down in front, and UConn turns it the other direction. Shovel it in, and a line change for the Huskies with 8:40 remaining here in the second. Jake Evans takes the hit, stays with it, and then gives it away at center. Patrick Kirtland then loses the puck to Eric Johnson. Now Hinostroza chasing. Beats Derek Pratt to the puck for Notre Dame. Ripples all the way out high. Drops it off. Jordan Gross. Robbie Russo in the corner had Notre Dame's first goal on the night. Hinostroza backhanded to the point, but nobody there. And Notre Dame has to return to their own end.
There's that duo of Gross and Russo. If you're UConn, you got to make sure you get your head on the swivel at all times because you're not afraid to jump down and provide a little secondary support to their forwards down low.
Notre Dame with some good pressure here. DePauli. Jacob Poe on his back. Andy Ryan comes in for some support, gets leveled in the process. Big hit by Poe. Now here's Russo. This is even strength, 5-on-5, but UConn kind of standing around. Jake Evans centers, early shot. And play developed quickly.
A lot of straight legs like the previous time that Notre Dame scored the goal.
Trying to get it in front. Now DePauli a shot, and the save finally by Nichols, who covers, and we get a stoppage with 7:18 remaining.
Here's Notre Dame working the puck down low again. Just win the battles and win the races to the loose pucks. Robbie Rousseau doing a really good job digging that puck out of the corner. Connor Hurley again supporting him. Jake Evans, same thing, going to the net, getting a scoring opportunity. But Richardson was able to negate that with a good active stick.
Ryan tries to hold it in for Notre Dame. Unable to do so. Schneider back for it. Sweeps it across to Luke Ripley. He fires it in off the glass. Notre Dame has done an excellent job on the forecheck here so far in this game. Sam Hare keeps it in. Here's Stephen Fogarty. Long shot, blocker save. Hare, backhand shot on the rebound. And finally, UConn with some breathing room out to center. Spencer Knox, their goal scorer on the night. Lost it between his skates and loses possession as well. Andy Ryan plays it along the boards. Oh, Gaspario Yutakainen with a big hit from Luke Ripley. Finally, Fogarty backhands along the boards. Sam Hare tips it out to center, and a regrouping here. Just about 6 minutes left to go here in the period. Ripley goes back for the puck. Notre Dame trying to snap a 3-game losing streak here. They've lost 3 in a row after having won 3 straight. Kind of a microcosm of their entire season, up and down through every month of the campaign so far. Now Richardson misses with a shot. Now here's Drake, a one-timer, and it's clutched to the chest of Cal Peterson. Notre Dame won 5 of their first 7, then went 1-6-2 in their next 9 games. Now they've lost 3 in a row, but trying to end that losing streak here tonight. And right now they have the 1-goal lead on home ice. Under 6 to play, second period. Notre Dame with the 2-1 lead. These two teams have snuggled up next to each other in the middle of the Hockey East standings. Notre Dame 1 point ahead of UConn as the game began here tonight. And Notre Dame a chance to move into the top 5 with a victory. UConn, meantime, at 500 in the conference after being picked to finish dead last. They've been surprisingly good. And what's really interesting is they've been better this season against top-ranked teams. They actually have a sub-500 record against teams with poor records, but they've been very good against top-ranked teams as Notre Dame creates a chance with Anders Bjork. Now a 3-on-1 if they can hurry. UConn the other way in transition. Sean Pauly a shot, and he scores the tying goal! Sean Pauly, the junior from Seattle, levels this game at 2.
We're seeing Notre Dame coming down on the scoring opportunity in the transition hockey. UConn does a really good job getting the puck going the other way. Evan Richardson has his head up the whole time. Sean Pauly drives the net. Richardson makes a nice little pass under the stick, waits for the defenseman to commit. Sean Pauly has a stick on the ice. A nice little tap in for him. He makes sure he makes no mistake about it. Gets the puck up. He doesn't just shoot the puck on the ice to give Cal Peterson a chance. He gets it up and over his glove for a nice goal.
Sean Pauly leads this team in points. Only his 3rd goal of the season. He has 12 assists, however. The only player for UConn to have played every game of his career, now a junior. Coaching staff compares him to a Patrice Bergeron type. Can play at both ends of the ice. High energy player, good skill. He ties this game with now under 5 minutes to play in the second period. Notre Dame has led twice, and we're now tied for the second time. Kind of a familiar feel here this evening to this game as to what we saw last Saturday here at the Compton Family Ice Arena when they led Western Michigan on multiple occasions and wound up losing in the final minute of regulation play.
And that's one of the things you really can't tell young players to let them go out there and experience it for themselves. They have to learn how to win. And it doesn't come easy. This comes from like trial by fire.
Here's Jeff White. Daylight through center. Long shot. An easy save by Cal Peterson. Now Ryan Tyson is the senior from Harleysville, Pennsylvania. And head coach Mike Cavanaugh said that this is the guy who controls everything. He's our biggest leader, most gritty player. Not a big goal scorer, not a big setup man, but he's one of those guys who, while you can't assess any kind of tremendous attribute to in terms of hockey skills, he's just a player everybody looks to. They feed off. He sets the tone. And sometimes, Anson, as you know, it doesn't have to be a skilled player to be that kind of a leader.
No, it doesn't. He's very well respected in the room, along with guys like Cody Sharib. You've got Gerling. You also have Jacob Poe as well. I mean, that senior class, in addition to Ryan Tyson, like you said, are really setting the tone for the younger players to, get that standard set high for this UConn program.
Shot blocked by Tyson. There's a good example of some of the things he does. And now Sharib is in on a breakaway. Cody Sharib shoots and scores! UConn has their first lead of the night.
That was one of the seniors I was telling you about right there. Cody Sharib. See the defensive zone. First see Tyson making the great block, and then Cody Sharib's off the race. He's got his head up the whole time, and he goes far side and beats Cal Peterson with a nice shot. Showing that scoring touch that he's had since junior, and he's showing it here at the college level. Great goal with a senior left winger. Head up the whole time, going far side, catches Cal Peterson a little bit off his angle a little bit, and Cody Sharib is like fired up on the bench. Listen to the rest of his teammates.
Now Now the senior from the Boston area was injured a good portion of last season. As a freshman, he led the team in points. Now here he is as a senior. 4th goal of the year. And now UConn, the 3-2 lead with 4 minutes to go in the second. Jake Evans backhands down the wards. Here's David Drake in the corner. Now Trevor Gerling. Just going to dump it in. And the Huskies will chase. Andy Ryan sweeps it along the boards. Ryan again. Now out to center. Luke Ripley aims for the corner. And some fresh legs coming on for the Irish here. Spencer Noss takes a hit from Jordan Gross, plays it in. Corey Ronan first to it. Can't control it, however. Noss back to Ronan. Spencer Noss opened the scoring in the first period for UConn. And Peterson makes the save on that one. Kept in by Johnny Austin, but blocked out high by Jake Evans. Johnny Austin is going to have to go back for it with Hinestroza on him.
Great positioning there by Kasperi Oyenkekinen. High up the defensive zone. He's able to get that shot off the net.
Chance for the Irish here. Never got the shot away. Lucia skating with the puck, finally knocked down by Johnny Austin. Never did get a shot on goal, though, in that sequence. Now tipped along. Irish back out front with Hinestroza. Fires on net. Lucia whacking at the rebound. Went down to his knees. Still loose behind the UConn goal. Jordan Gross. Puck kept in. Robbie Russo plays it along. Back to Austin Wuthrich. Keeps it in. Jordan Gross along the half wall. Tries to fire in front. That's blocked. And UConn brings it out. Notre Dame coming right back in, however. Now looking for the tying goal. With under 2 minutes to go in the second period. UConn has scored the last 2 here in this second period. After Mario Lucia earlier in the period had given Notre Dame the 2-1 lead. Pauly and also Sherrod, back-to-back goals for UConn, and it's now 3-2.
Last scoring touch here, or scoring attempt here. You've got Notre Dame playing a lot of pressure, but now you've got UConn paying close attention to Mario Lucia. He's getting a couple of cross checks there. And he's isn't able to get that scoring chance past Rob Nichols.
Notre Dame out shooting UConn 22-16, but trailing by 1. Now here come the Irish. With Schneider, the pass a little too far for him. Equalizer Derek Pratt. And UConn will settle back in their own end. Kyle Hewson. Now to Trevor Gerling. Backhands down the ice, and Andy Ryan retreats for Notre Dame. Ryan's older brother Ben played here at Notre Dame on the Frozen Four team back in 2011. Here's Bjork, plays it to Ryan. 1 minute to go in the period.
In the second period, 1 minute.
Now Bjork leaves it behind the goal for Evans. Notre Dame really would love the tying goal here before intermission, after leading all the way until the last few minutes. Now there is Connor Hurley without a stick. Now here's Russo setting up for Notre Dame. Jordan Gross plays it in front, under everyone to the corner. Russo pinching in though, down deep. With half a minute to go in the frame. A wrist shot and a pass saved by Nichols. Jordan Gross, first to it for Notre Dame. Tried to center. David Drake intercepted. Now DePauli in the corner. He takes the hit, but stays with it. Strong on the puck. Now Jake Evans from an angle gives it off. Hurley a shot, and Nichols made the save with just under 10 seconds to go. Now coming up on the Friday Night Ice second intermission report with Dave Briggs. The Terriers are being hounded, and Barry Trotz returns to Nashville. Those are the stories that we'll have in 9.5 seconds.
Connor Hurley might have gotten the scoring opportunity there, but that was all Thomas DePauli in the corner. Great hockey strength along the wall, absorbing the hit, walking up the wall there, giving Connor Hurley a nice pass, get a nice shot on net.
And UConn now just going to hold on to it here and wait for the horn. 40 minutes in the rearview mirror here in South Bend, and Notre Dame trailing for the first time in this hockey game. UConn has the last two tallies, and they lead 3-2 after 2 periods of play. Now let's send you to Dave Briggs in our NBC SN studios. The third period about to commence here in South Bend. Three goals in that second period, and to break it all down, where else but inside the glass? We now send you to that man, Anson Carter. Anson?
Thanks again, Steve. UConn has done a really good job using defense to create offense, getting great scoring opportunities based on how they play in their own zone. That defense has created good odd man rushes, and they've definitely capitalized. See all 3 forwards coming back down low. Evan Richardson goes down the ice, got his head up. He finds Sean Pauly for a nice tap in, a nice little pass under the defenseman's stick for a great goal by Sean Pauly. Again, a great block by Tyson in the defensive zone, and then they're off to the races. Cody Sherribb has his head up the whole time. He sees the glove down. Nice snapshot over Cal Peterson's glove. And then it's all about making adjustments. The defensive zone, you see Mario Lucia scoring that goal early in this hockey game. He loses himself in defensive zone coverage. Norris can't pick him up, and he's able to get a nice tapping goal. Well, later in the game, they make adjustments now. Now you see Jacob Poe right there. You see Austin there as well. And Mario Lucia smothered, and he's able to score his second goal of the game. Great adjustment by Mike Kavanaugh and his coaching staff there at the UConn Huskies bench.
Well, now with UConn leading, what adjustments does Notre Dame make as they try to tie this game here in the third?
They really have to start moving their feet. This Notre Dame team has to understand winning is difficult, especially in this Hockey East Conference. And they can't take anything lightly. Getting off to good starts hasn't been a problem, so maintain those leads and not turning pucks over in the gray areas.
DePauli ahead to Connor Hurley, back to Thomas DePauli, one-timer. And Jordan Gross will have to chase all the way back to his own end. UConn playing their best hockey of the season right now, looking for their third win in a row. They already have 4 victories this year over top 15 teams and only allowing 2 goals in that 4-game winning stretch. So they've been stingy defensively. They've beaten some highly ranked teams. This is a squad in their first year at Hockey East that showing no signs of easing into the conference. They are ready to play with the best in the sport.
Certainly goes back to the coaching staff. Mike Kavanaugh has them prepared, and they play hard for 60 minutes. They're going to come and compete, and they're picked to finish last in preseason polls in the Hockey East. And you know what? That senior class said that we're not going to have anything of that, and they've obviously shown the way they've been playing this so far this year.
Sean Pauly hounded in the corner by Luca Ripley, but stays with the puck along to Gerling. Now Richardson takes a hit from Stephen Fogarty. Interesting dynamic between both Gerling and Sean Pauly, who has the go-ahead goal right now. They found out this past summer that they're distant cousins. They've been playing hockey together for a long time. Never knew they were related until just a few months ago.
That's a nice surprise.
but now they have the family rivalry going, so it changes everything.
Yeah, it does.
Good sustained offensive pressure at the outset of this period applied by UConn. Shot coming in on net. Peterson turned it away. Derek Pratt smacks this one along. Jacob Poe pokes at the puck. Notre Dame just having trouble coming out of their own end. Finally breaking through to center. There's Hinostroza. Going to weave his way in. Hinostroza circles in the corner. Jeff White taking him to the boards. White comes away with the puck. Patrick Kirtland gaining the zone. Tries to go around Eric Johnson. And now a Now a chance for Lucia with some open ice. It's a 4-on-2 for Notre Dame. Now Hinostroza looking to center, instead shoots, and a bad save by Nichols.
Good decision to shoot that puck there by Hinostroza. He was looking to pass. He made the right decision there, but getting that puck on net.
Rob Nichols, pretty solid in goal once again tonight for UConn as they go for a line change. 3 minutes gone by, third period. Now the coaching staff compares Rob Nichols to Andy Moe, the former netminder for the Edmonton Oilers and a few other clubs. Won 3 Stanley Cups with the Oilers back in the day. And a 20-year NHL career. Basically, he's tight, squares up, very efficient, plays the puck well.
He plays the puck very well, and it helps out the defensive core as well. Kavanaugh said he just tells his D-man to go to the corners. That's a quick, easy first breakout pass for the D-man to alleviate that pressure on the forecheckers.
There's David Drake behind his own goal. Now Ryan Tyson will just shoot it in, and another line change here for UConn. These two teams will meet again this coming Sunday afternoon up in Bridgeport. A home-and-home series. Not like last week with Western Michigan when they played in back-to-back days and just bust in between. These teams have to fly tomorrow. Centering pass. Nobody got a stick on it there. Schneider whacks it out of the zone for Notre Dame. Sean Pauly. Pass deflected off the skate, and now Schneider carrying in for Notre Dame. Loads up and fires a shot that Nichols smothers.
Trevor Gerling fires that puck off of his skate, and Schneider is able to get that puck in transition, makes the big shot. Rob Nichols is able to cover that up as he's got traffic coming to the net. He's able to avoid that traffic and still make the save.
Peter Schneider played his junior hockey in the Czech Republic, growing up in Vienna, Austria. First Austrian player to ever skate at Notre Dame. Nichols last year, the top rookie goaltender in the Atlantic Hockey Association, the former conference for UConn. And one of the many players making the transition to Hockey East this year, but Mike Kavanaugh, the head coach, making that transition much easier because this is not his first Hockey East rodeo. He knows the landscape, spent 18 seasons as an assistant at Boston College. Developed a reputation as a terrific recruiter. Part of 4 national championship teams there, so he knows this conference inside and out.
He said it's easier, too, to play games every single week as opposed to parachuting in and playing one game here against a Hockey East opponent. You're more familiar with your opponent. You're forced to play at a high level every single week, which helps his players.
Line change for the Irish. Over 5 minutes in now, final period. Notre Dame trailing 3-2 after leading on 2 different occasions in this game. Having trouble in recent weeks closing out games and holding on to leads. Stephen Fogarty. Now Sam Hare. Backhands in. Hare's going to chase it himself, but Nichols saw Hare coming, and he'll just hold on. This UConn program that they're still building step by step under the direction of Mike Kavanaugh, the 4th ever coach in program history, is still enjoying quite a run of success. The last 4 years have been the best span in program history, and now this year in their first season in Hockey East, these last couple of weeks have been their best of this season. So they really seem to be hitting their stride. They have a terrific environment when they play home games up in Connecticut. Even though they don't have a rink in Stores where campus is, they split their home games between Hartford and Bridgeport and still get terrific crowds. So there is definitely a fan base there, even though they have to travel a little ways. And that's why this UConn program certainly has a lot of upside.
We're talking about recruiting in terms of UConn and that brand, well, also coaching as well. Andrew Raycroft, former Calder trophy winner in the National Hockey League, is goaltending coach here with Coach Kavanaugh. So, coaches as well recognize it's a great place to come and becoming coaches also.
And they're essentially the pro team for Connecticut. Obviously, there's no NHL team there anymore. Hartford Whalers, after 18 years in the NHL, vacated back in the 90s. As here's Connor Hurley, a shot that was blocked in front. So UConn hockey is one of the prime tickets in the area up in the Northeast there. Here's Austin Wuthrich, pulls up, shot blocked in front. Now Andy Ryan has a lane, shot, and a save by Nichols. Gerling skates it away. Now work it in. Notre Dame defense held up. Down low, saved by Peterson, came in on him with Sean Pauly right in front, screening him. Derek Pratt back on the puck for the Huskies. And gave it away. Here's Andy Ryan, has to wait for Hinostroza to come out of the zone. Now here's Hinostroza, couldn't get a real clean shot on net. And Gerling tips it back out to center. 12 and a half left to play in regulation. Looking for our first goal here in the third. Had 2 in the first, 3 in the second. And UConn leading 3-2. All the way back out to the point. Robbie Russo and the first goal of the game for Notre Dame. Anders Bjork chasing behind the UConn net. Hair on the wraparound. Now Ryan Tyson. Anders Bjork steals it in the corner. Fogarty was calling for it in the slot. He was open. Wade, a long drive from out high. Backhanded down to Fogarty. Now in front. Nichols just waiting patiently as Sam Hare came in on goal. Rob Nichols very quiet in the crease, very confident, and right now nursing this 1-goal lead. The Huskies on top of the Irish, 3-2. The Premier League is on NBCSN. 2 teams fighting for the top of the table clash as Man City host Arsenal Sunday at 11 Eastern. But weekend coverage begins tomorrow morning at 9 Eastern as QPR hosts Man United on NBCSN. UConn, the 3-2 lead. Mike Cavanaugh, his second season with the Huskies. But as we talked about, such a long history in Hockey East. Almost 2 decades at Boston College, and look at those achievements.
And this gives some automatic credibility when you watch them to young players' household and sort of sell them on UConn as a program. Having that success at BC, he's got guys like Jimmy Hayes playing the National Hockey League, Chris Kreider, Atkinson, Gibbons, Whitney. A lot of players have come to the BC program that he helped bring there that are playing at the next level. So if you're a player looking to put the next level and he comes calling, UConn could be a good place for you to come and play for the next 4 years.
And players have been receptive. Again, it's still a step-by-step process in building the program at this level. UConn, for their history, has ever only had 1 player play at all in the NHL.
A former teammate, Todd Krieger.
Yeah, Kreider drafted by Hartford, but played with you in Washington. Also played in Anaheim for a while as well. The only player ever to step on the ice in an NHL uniform. They've had draft picks. He's the only one to ever perform in the National Hockey League. Got to figure that's going to change pretty soon, though.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Now Ryan Segala, who had that misconduct penalty back in the first period, their first ever NHL entry draft pick. So I haven't seen him since early on here tonight. Gerling taken to the wall. Now here's Evan Richardson. Looking for a gap. Now Jacob Poe. Throwing it along the wall. Andy Ryan intercepts for Notre Dame. And now here's Peter Schneider. Long outlet. Terrific pass to Sam Hare. Moving it on net. And it's going to be a penalty on Jacob Poe. And the Irish are going to go on a man advantage halfway through the third period.
Luckily, Jacob Poe isn't called on a penalty shot. Their great long outlet pass. Sam here does a really good job getting up the ice, find that nice little seam there, hold Jacob Poe off with his body, shielding him, protects the puck at the same time, gets one hack at it, gets another whack at it, and gets called down. But look at that breakaway speed there by Hare. Isn't able to score, but he's able to put Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the power play with 10:07 left to go in this hockey game.
Notre Dame 0 for 1 with the man advantage. 3 shots on goal so far on the power play tonight. In a very clean game, each team only one penalty until this most recent one. Russo colliding with Kirtland. Now Hinostroza holding back to Gross. One-timer from Russo. And that's going to force Gross to chase. Notre Dame trying everything. Every recipe they can find in Grandma's cupboard to make this power play work. At under 7% on the season, what ingredients can they throw in the crock pot here and find a solution, which would be the tying goal? Thomas DePauli holding, lost it to Houston. Man, he's going to drill it into the crowd. Over the top of the Notre Dame bench. Just over the top of Anson Carter. That was a little haircut for you, my friend.
I'd do the Matrix to get out of the way. Felt like Keanu Reeves diving out of there.
Now you pay the price for that kind of height there, for the vantage point.
It has its negatives, and that's one of them. You got to keep your head up. You got to pay attention at all times.
Trade your headset for a half shield.
I'm going to throw my old Mission bucket on top of the headset.
1:08 left to go in the 5-on-4. Russo to Bjork. Back to Robbie Russo. Trying to line one up. Now Bjork down deep. Trying to find Mutrich. Russo along the dasher. Down to Sam Hare. Houston on him. Now Anders Bjork. The Irish work the perimeter. 40 seconds of power play time left. Fogarty now to Robbie Russo. Not get many shots off here. A lot of skating, a lot of passing. Got to get a puck on net. Russo the one-timer. Final 20 ticks. Russo again fires. Knocked out in front of the rebound. They score!
That's a big goal for his Fighting Irish PP. You're seeing Robbie Russo blast that one wide, but great puck retrieval there by the captain, Fogarty. And Austin Mutrich, he's up high in the high screen there. He isn't down low, he's up high, doesn't get taken away. Sam Hare's in front, getting the goalie's eyes away, and then Mutrich was able to bury that rebound for his 7th goal of the season.
Austin Wuthridge, the 4th-round draft choice of the Washington Capitals. Born in Bakersfield, California, but growing up in Anchorage, Alaska. Huge goal for the Irish. Not only because it was on the power play, which has struggled so mightily, but it also draws this game level at 3 with 8 minutes now left to go in regulation. Notre Dame, a team that's had so much trouble hanging on to leads, closing out games, twice surrendering the lead tonight, but now back on even terms. Also the light for this Irish squad as they come back into the zone with Jake Evans. Here's Robbie Russo in front, kicked away. Richardson chops it along the wall. Gerling now up to center.
And 26, Fogarty at 11.
First tally of our 3rd period.
There's a crowd razzing Rob Nichols a little bit with that Nichols cheer. Gotta love college hockey fans.
Houston a drive, blocked in front. Ronan on the rebound, couldn't get a heavy shot on goal. taunting the netminder. He let the whole team down. Yes, he did, according to the students who have just been back on campus for the last few days. Here's Lucia in the corner against Derek Pratt. Got Hinestroza in front, tried to find him. Lofted down the rink. Line change for UConn. 6.5 to play, and that's icing against the Huskies. Now a seesaw game. Back and forth. Tied at 1 after the first period. Was a 3-2 lead for UConn after the second, and now 3 apiece here in the third. You never want to overstate things, get into the hyperbole, but you just get the feeling the way things have been going. This is a huge game for Notre Dame, Anson.
It really is. I mean, it all depends on, can this Fighting Irish team fight the urge of trying to create something out of nothing and just make the safe plays and take what the game gives you. And the same thing can be said for this UConn Husky team as well.
And the net came away from the Magnets behind Nichols in goal. Well, Notre Dame, having lost 3 in a row coming in, some very tough defeats as well, falling behind here after leading twice. But now they're back tied and looking for a way out front once more. So a whistle off the draw. And a timeout here with 6:08 left to go. Well, tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, we head to New Hampshire for more college hockey as the UMass Minutemen take on the New Hampshire Wildcats. It's UMass and New Hampshire tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern on NBC-SN. UMass a winner in the first game of that series tonight by a 6-4 score. And the officials conferring over near the Notre Dame bench as Jeff Jackson talks to his squad. And it was officially UConn that called the timeout with 6:08 left to go here in our final period. Now, what is going to be the difference in this hockey game? Both teams have led. Both teams have had their moments. Just over 6 to go before we may see overtime. What could be the keys here down the stretch, Anson Carter?
Well, right here in this, as we're talking at right now, face-offs. This face-off is crucial. The UConn Huskies are going to make sure you win your defensive zone face-offs, and if you're in Notre Dame, you're going to try to create some offense from this face-off. So look to see who gets thrown out from both teams, and when they do, they got to bear down these face-offs. It's not just a centerman. It's all about the wingers, the defensemen helping out and chipping in as well, because the responsibility is a 5-man unit on the ice, not just your centerman in the face-off circle.
Coming off that timeout, what's the vibe down there on the Notre Dame bench?
Team's pretty focused. They're really focused. They want to make sure they do the little things. Coach Paul Cooley's really stressing getting pucks in and getting pucks out, and really being focused on each blue line on the ice.
Tyson against Hurley. Lifted out to center. Joey Ferris hit by Robbie Russo. Fired off the glass, down the ice, no icing. There's Ryan Tyson. Sherrod, backhands for Jacob Poe. And the defenseman tries to play it in, knocked down by Justin Wade. A new defensive pairing coming on now for UConn. Intercepted out at center. Here's Sean Pauley. Nice move around one man, then taken down. Picked up in the corner by Sherrod. Tries to center for Spencer Noss. Peterson made a big save as Noss was moving in, looking for his second goal of the game. Well, it is Austin Woothbridge, the game-tying goal here in the third for Notre Dame. ventilation challenged costume, but no doubt great on a slip and slide, I would imagine, Anson.
Sweet shades. That's my takeaway from that outfit.
Students back just this week after the holiday break. Very lively as always here at the Compton Family Ice Arena. Big crowd of over 5,000 on a Friday night, and seeing a good one, tied at 3 with just over 5 left to play. First ever meeting between these two schools, now conference opponents in Hockey East, and now, like any first date, little nerves at the outset, but it will not be a one-night stand. Rest assured, they meet again on Sunday up in Bridgeport. Shot blocked in front, and now Nas trying to skate it back to center, taking off his stick. Here's Russo for Notre Dame.
A very entertaining game so far tonight, and you would expect nothing less with both teams really in the same spot in the Hockey East Conference.
An important time of the season. We got about 2 months of the regular season left, and for both of these teams, from here on out, it's all conference games. Not a single non-conference game left on the schedule for either school.
That's the beauty about college hockey. Every game is important. You're not playing 80 games. It's less than 40 games, so there's really an onus played in the players to really play well every single weekend.
Stephen Fogarty falls down. Houston jabbing at the puck underneath him. Lucia trying to lend support in the corner for the Irish. Now back to the point. Justin Wade. Softly around the corner for Lucia. Lutheridge digging. Loses the handle. Gets some help. Now on the half wall, Hinostroza. Back to the point. Wade fires. In front, covered by Rob Nichols. Just a shade under 4 minutes left to go now in the third. Rob Nichols has been very good, and we're still tied 3 apiece. .3-3 the score. Just inside of 4 minutes left to go in the third.
This is where this game will be won or lost as we start to wind down this third period. When those puck battles in the half wall, when the puck battles along the wall, Notre Dame does just that this last time. Austin Wade gets the puck back. Cody Shareb comes down, tries to block the shot, but Austin Wade does a really good job getting that shot through, but Rob Nichols makes a great save.
Last Saturday here at the Compton Family Ice Arena, Notre Dame and Western Michigan were tied in the final minutes of the third, and the Broncos got the game-winning goal with just over 1 minute to play. Notre Dame trying to make sure the same fate doesn't befall them the second week in a row. 3-on-3, Irish coming into the zone, shot to Nichols' gloves. Sam Hare been very active offensively tonight for Notre Dame. Notre Dame out shooting the Huskies 12-3 here in this third period alone. 3-3 game with 3.5 to play. We would see overtime, 5 minutes sudden death if it comes to that. Facing to the puck along with Kyle Houston. Now David Drake for the Huskies. Will offset all the way down to the blue line. Robbie Russo back. Russo aims for the corner. That's going to be icing against the Irish with 3 to play. Jeff Jackson, 399 wins in his career. Can he finally get elusive number 400? His 4th attempt to reach that milestone. But Notre Dame has lost 3 in a row. The 59-year-old native of Roseville, Michigan, a Michigan State alum, won 2 national championships at Lake Superior State. Now his 10th season behind the bench here in South Bend as the puck is out of play into the Notre Dame bench.
Coach Jack's making a little bit of change in defensive pairs. You got Robbie Russo playing with Justin Wade now. A little bit more stay-at-home defenseman than Jordan Gross to give him a little bit more experience there on the back end with less than 3 minutes left to go in this period.
Now, not only are all of these conference points very valuable. But for Notre Dame especially, considering the rough ride they've had the last few weeks, this is a big morale moment to get that game-winning goal. Try and finish one off after leading twice earlier in the contest.
Let's go! Especially coming off of last weekend as well, where they played very well against Western Michigan, and Western Michigan just fought back and was able to steal both victories.
Well, as you know, Anson, there's those markers along the way in any given season, those little benchmarks, and to get a win tonight, boy, would be huge. Here's a chance for Fogarty! Nichols, a point-blank save! Fogarty runs into him then, and Nichols falls back in to the goal.
I wouldn't be surprised if Fogarty gets a penalty there, too. He isn't pull up short. He decides to keep charging forward.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. A penalty against Notre Dame with 2:19 to go. Fogarty is heading off.
But what a save by Rob Nichols. He comes out, and he's big. He's in the top of his crease, not the biggest goalie, but he takes that angle away by coming out playing on top of the blue paint. And he makes the great save, and he holds his ground there as he gets ran over by the captain. See, once again there, makes a great save. He holds on to the puck, and then Fogarty just keeps coming and runs him over. And UConn does a really good job not retaliating.
So, big moment in the game. Power play for UConn, their second of the night. They are 0 for 1. Looking for the go-ahead goal here in the final couple of minutes. Goalie interference is the call on the junior Stephen Fogarty. One-timer from Drake, blocked by DePauli.
Great block by Tom DePauli.
Short-handed chance for Notre Dame. 2-on-1. DePauli, rink wide. Looking to get it back. Drake ran into him from behind. The net comes away from the Magnets, and we get a whistle as a result.
Back to defensive zone here. You see Thomas DePaul with a great block, sacrificing himself, what you have to do in a penalty kill situation, and that leads to an offensive zone chance. Thomas DePaul gets it wide, Vinny Hinostroza, and then he drives the net here, and he tries to sell the penalty a little bit there with David Drake in the back check, but the referee wasn't going to have it, and he keeps UConn on the power play.
2 minutes to go. 5-on-4 as the Huskies gain the zone. Brent Norris in the corner. Here's Spencer Noss. And Notre Dame once again shorthanded, getting the puck back to center. The first power play chance for UConn earlier in this game did not go well. Had only one shot on goal and really never had any sustained pressure in the Notre Dame end. Spent a lot of time chasing back to their own end of the sheet. Here's Jacob Poe. Sean Pauling takes the hit from Wade. 1 minute of power play time remaining. Notre Dame with one shorthanded goal so far this season. Here's Russo. Lines it up, fires the save by Nichols, and he hangs on. The puck goes in, but after the whistle. No goal.
The Fighting Irish are really aggressive. They have forward blowing the zone, and any scoring chance they get coming out on the penalty kill. Roger Russo has his head up. Hammers that went on net. Peter Schneider's going to the net there. Andrews Bjork's going to the net too. But Rob Nichols is strong on the puck. It goes in after the referee blew the whistle. No goal.
Here's Johnny Austin. 1 minute left to go in regulation. 38 seconds on the power play for UConn. You just can't get anything going in the 5-on-4. Here's Anders Bjork, shorthanded for Notre Dame. Going to play it all the way back into his own end to kill some time. Now Sean Pauling. Jacob Poe with a little daylight as he carries in. Evan Richardson blocked by Andy Ryan and backhanded down the ice. Final 10 seconds of the UConn power play. 25 seconds left to go in regulation now. Penalty over, back to even strength, 5-on-5 for the final 16 seconds of the third. Cover players in the corner. Here comes DePauli away with the puck. Now Hinostroza. Pulling up at the point. Vince Hinostroza gives it up. Now to the corner. Trying to center in front. And that will take us to the end of regulation after 60 minutes in South Bend. UConn and Notre Dame headed to overtime, tied at 3. Well, let's start in the first and show you how we got here. Robbie Russo got the scoring started.
With the cannon in the back end, Robbie Russo's been very active. The defensive partner, Jordan Gross, and he gets the Irish on the board early in this game with the blast from the point.
But then Spencer Nass, the freshman leading goal scorer on this team, responding for the Huskies.
Spencer Nass is showing exactly why he came in this game with 4 goals in 4 straight games, showing that deft scoring touch.
And then a nice play to find Mario Lucia down low for the Irish.
Great play by Austin Ruthridge, a little spin around between the legs, finding Mario Lucia.
But then, with a rush up the ice, Sean Pauley finishing for UConn.
And that was a great pass by Evan Richardson, looking for him the whole time. And then you've got Cody Sharib, a head up, nice shot, and even better celebration.
And then the only goal in the third, belonging to the Irish.
Once again, you got Robbie Russo with the blast from the point, gets knocked down, and Austin Ruthridge at the high screen, gets the loose puck and puts it home to tie this game up 3-3.
Overtime records for each team this season. Notre Dame, the only one of these two clubs with a victory of any kind. So Mike Cavanaugh, Jeff Jackson talking to their clubs on the bench. It'll be 5 minutes, sudden death, no shootout. What will the keys be in the overtime session for each team, Anson?
Well, just making sure you get those pucks on net. You can't get your shot blocked up high because that leads to quick transition going the other way. If you're a defenseman, you get your head up, you've got no shot on net, just dump it in the corner and let your forwards grind it out and wait for a better scoring opportunity.
Notre Dame trying to level the record at 500 at home this season with a victory and end a 3-game losing streak. UConn trying to move above 500 in the conference and win their 3rd straight game of the year. And what would be their 4th win in the last 5 outings. Now, UConn has not won 3 in a row this year. Notre Dame has not lost 4 in a row. Both of those are in play. A lot at stake here as we begin the sudden death overtime period. Jake Evans racing to the puck along with Johnny Austin. Players converging in the corner. Connor Hurley against Sherrod. Now back to Justin Wade. Wade looking for help. Wraps it around the wall. Jake Evans there to support. Leaves it in the corner for Thomas DePaul. Trying to go around Jacob Poe. Now in front. Bouncing puck comes back to the blue line. Kept in by Russo. Blocked in front. And here's UConn turning it the other direction. And they're going to go for a line change.
Smart play there by Jake Evans. He couldn't find the puck in his skate. His first instinct was to take 2 steps back to make sure he's making himself in a great defensive position in case the puck gets turned over and the puck gets thrown the other way.
David Drake can't control it. Bounces past Hinostroza. Irish keep in. Now here's a chance. Lucian and Hinostroza. Hinostroza taking it all the way back up top. And now Notre Dame has to vacate the zone. Oh, almost gave it away in their own end. Hinostroza once more. Cross ice for Lucia. Leading goal scorer for Notre Dame. Spinning, trying to backhand. Houston broke it up. Trevor Gurley with speed. Got daylight through center. Carving his way through the Irish as he brings it in. Trevor Gurley trying to center. Gurling still with the puck as he backhands down the boards. Intercepted by Ripley. And now here's Andy Ryan for the Irish. Crowd coming to life. Corey Roden plays it ahead. Roden, whose father played at BU, also won a Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens. He's out on the ice along with Spencer Nass, who has the puck now. Shot and a save by Peterson. Tries to backhand up the board. Sam Hare has it stick checked away from him, but gets it back out to center. 2.5 to go in overtime. And Ryan once again chasing in his own end. This is going to be icing against UConn. They were looking for a line change, but the faceoff will come deep in the Husky end.
Early in the overtime here, you see this Notre Dame scoring opportunity there. See the big fellow, Mario Lucia, trying to return the favor to Vinny Hinestroza. And then here you've got Spencer Nas with a wicked wrister that Cal Peterson just gets a piece of.
Off the draw. Wuthrich battling Johnny Austin. William Takinen and Hinestroza both there as well. Houston banks it along the boards. Comes all the way back out to the neutral zone. Jordan Gross backhands to the far side. Whacked it around. Jarrett out to center. Here's William Takinen, the fin. Taken off the puck. Now Wuthrich had a game-tying goal. He's along the wall. Centers for Jordan Gross with just under 2 minutes to play in overtime. Irish coming in the zone and saved by Nichols on the shot from Mario Lucia. Lucia looking for his second of the night and the game winner.
First nice one puck battle coming out of the zone. Mario Lucia is driving the puck wide. He knows he has two forwards going to net, so what does he do? Just tries to get that puck on net. I can see him get that puck, maybe on Rob Nichols' pillows, give his teammates a little rebound, but either way, a shot on net's never a bad play.
39 shots on goal for the Irish so far tonight. Now make it 40. Second time this season, Notre Dame has produced 40 shots on goal. This is Justin Wade back in his own end. Joey Ferris now for UConn. Jacob Poe off the boards for Patrick Kirtland, who takes a hit. Connor Hurley, the freshman for Notre Dame. Now Jake Evans tried to drop it off. Here's Hurley in the corner. Got the Paulie in front. Hurley spinning. UConn poking at the puck. Finally coming free out to the neutral zone. Here's Evan Richardson skating it in, gaining the zone, and then lost control. But gets it back, tries to center. Andy Ryan intercepts for the Irish. Stephen Fogarty taking off the puck. With 1 minute to go in overtime. Chance for UConn trying to set something up in front. 3-3 here in overtime. Sean Paulie in the corner with Richardson. He gets knocked down. 5 players battling. Notre Dame looking for a chance. 2-on-2 as they break out. Jake Evans lifts it down the ice. Nichols makes the catch. And that stops the clock with 38.7 seconds left to go.
This looks like another big defensive zone faceoff for UConn Huskies.
Getting the personnel set here. Sean Paulie against Vincent Hinestroza in the face-off circle. Irish have to go back to center with Jordan Gross. Half a minute to go. Remember, there is no shootout. This one will end in a tie if we don't get a goal. Here's Hinestroza in the corner. Vincent Hinestroza! Rebound! Shot! Saved by Nichols! Biggest of the night with 18 seconds to go in overtime.
That's an understatement. What a save by Rob Nichols. Once again, puck gets turned over. Mario Lucia on the forecheck. Jacob Poe can't get it out. Puck gets back up the slot there. And then look at how high Rob Nichols is in his crease, making himself look really big, take away the angle. And the key there is squeezing that rebound, not leaving any meat on the bone. Not leaving any loose pucks available. He squeezed that rebound and forced the defensive zone faceoff. He's been outstanding tonight.
Timeout taken by Notre Dame. 44 shots on goal, a season high for the Irish. 41 saves, a season high for Rob Nichols here tonight. So what are you drawing up if you're Jeff Jackson?
It's going to win the faceoff. It all starts with the faceoff win. After the faceoff win, you block out your men, make sure you got guys going on net, and then if you're defenseman, get pucks through. You can't afford to have pucks get blocked and have UConn going the other way.
best chance of overtime just moments ago. Mike Cavanaugh on the other end, very animated. Jeff Jackson trying to diagram something that would result in a goal that would also end in him winning his 400th career game as a head coach. Sure, he's not thinking about that right now. He's thinking about just getting the win. Hinestroza and Pauly once again duel in the circle. Once again, it's Pauly who comes away, winning it for UConn. Final 10 seconds. Russo keeps it in for the Irish. Out to center. And now a chance for the Huskies. Gerling. And that's going to do it. It will end in a tie here in South Bend. 3-3 the final. UConn and Notre Dame in their first ever meeting here at the Compton Family Ice Arena. Anson, final thoughts on this one.
What a great hockey game between both these clubs. Both these clubs were desperate to get points in the second half of the season, and they both came out, they competed hard. Notre Dame showed they're able to come back after giving up a lead, to battle back to tie this game up. And then you've got Coach Cavanaugh's team, the first year in hockey. He's coming into a hostile environment and playing very well for the UConn Huskies.
2 goals in the first period, 3 in the second, 1 in the third. And this one ends in a 3-3 tie. Well, tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, we head to New Hampshire for more college hockey. It's UMass and New Hampshire. Again, that's tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern on NBCSN. Win number 400 will have to wait for Jeff Jackson. Notre Dame and UConn end in a 3-3 tie. And now for Anson Carter, I'm Steve Schlanger. Thanks for joining us, and now we say good night from South Bend, Indiana.